We tend to shy away from the serious talk, fearing that we are Jesus or what. As a child, I thinking you are fit and strong. Me guided by the word, make God number one. The journey seems rough, it's not for the weak. Time to open up your mouth and speak. It's a bend and back from you. It's very unfiltered. It's a bend and back from you. It's very unfiltered.
Christian people.
Yay!
No, sir, my friend, you eat again now. You sound hungry. Christian people.
Oi.
That is it. Welcome to our first ever podcast, Faith Unfiltered, where we keep it raw, real, and rooted in Christ.
Brought to you by Brinton Podcast Network. We're here to talk about unfiltered faith conversations.
Oh.
No sugarcoating, no fluff, just real talk about God and everything in between.
Excellent. I am your lovely host, Alfonso.
And I'm your co-host, Kayla Morgan.
All right, then. So now, for all those new people who's joining us today, because, it's our first ever podcast, we're trying something different from your regular Christian thing, right? So we're going to try bring the gospel in a more digitalized kind of way, right? Where we try to bring about thought-provoking topics, things to stir up the mixture, and also a little bit of holy mischief. I'm that mischief.
And today's topic, buckle up, because we're diving into some things that churches don't normally like to talk about. New believers and the struggle to keep them. Are we rolling out the red carpet for them or showing the exit without realizing it?
Boy, Kayla, you really talk about that. I never got a red carpet roll out for me, The people don't even notice I'm in the church,
Oh, Lord.
But that's a different conversation, We're going to keep that later. But before we go any further, we're going to have... let this be known, my lovely people. This was forced to us by the producers.
We were forced by them, guys.
Yeah, I didn't want to do this, but we have to. So we're gonna have a little bit of mix up in the hymnal. We're gonna take a look at our favorite classical hymnal. We're gonna remix it a little bit, and I put a little own personal beat. But I am a gentleman first and foremost, so I'll let my lovely co-host go first. All right, but Kayla, which hymnal I gotta take those things? Cause enough,
Me do hymn 15.
All right, then let's say ladies first. Go beat to beat. No, me laugh,
Lord God.
Start already. I'm believing her, killer. I'm believing her.
No, the beat.
You don't know a beat? Come on.
All right, guys, don't laugh at him. As I said, we were forced in, so all right.
I'm gonna laugh still. Carry on.
My maker, and my Kim.
Guys,
right.
we've been forced. Please, this is our first episode.
But only I do the first part, the first verse. My maker and my king, to thee my all I own. Yeah, thy sovereign bounty is the spring whence all my blessings. What you say? My sovereign bounty is the spring whence all my blessings flow. All right.
No, Kayla, you're going like a long time. You do this.
I'm good at.
Boy, I try my melody. I laughed it out a while ago. Mighty God of Israel. All right, then.
All right, Alfonso, take the floor.
No, see, I can't find it. What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and grief to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. What a peace are we often forfeit. No, you beat it out. You beat it out. I had the melody, No.
I think that sounds
lovely people. This is our first attempt. We're gonna do better. Please don't beat us with it. But all right then, seeing that we got that cringing moment out of the way, let's dive into the real matter of it all. Right, the topic, as what Kayla was discussing, is actually, what it feels like to actually be a new member in the church, and actually, if the Seventh-day Adventist Church is actually retaining, or what are they trying to do, or what is the real issue or cause of the retainment of the new members in the church. We have some stats,
facts and stats.
And before we do anything, we need to get it really laid on the table, because I'm a numbers kind of guy, so we need to lay it out right there. But I'm going to let Kayla do that, and then we'll get talking and discussing about the matter.
Okay, so here I have a little bit of information about member retention in the Seventh-day Adventist Church of Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
So in the last 10 years, according to the General Conference Archives, and statistics shows that the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Papua New Guinea is experiencing exponential church growth with a great challenge on retention.
Okay.
The cost to this research, for example, in the last 10 years, from 2013 to 2022, the membership gain total is 295,588 at an average of 29,500 baptism per year. However, on a somber note, the same corresponding period, the church lost 272,000 membership at an average of 15,427 annually. The total gain of 141,316 in a decade carries a burden of substantial loss and poor retention. So, you can see where we're going with this. So according to the available data, the Seventh-day Adventist Church faces a significant challenge with new member retention, with estimates suggesting that around 50% of newly baptized members eventually leave the church, meaning for every 2 new members, 1 is likely to become inactive. Some studies even report a higher attrition rate, with up to 60% of new converts leaving within a year of baptism, Alfonso.
That's crazy, Kayla. That's crazy.
These numbers.
Whoa, I can't. We don't want to act surprised. Since of late, I've actually been seeing that happening in churches, and it's not even only the S.D.A. church, but we're talking about it now, where most of the churches are actually struggling to retain their new members, and
but why though? Why? What's the issue? What's the issue with that?
Well, if I can really be unfiltered, some of these baptisms are like some money grab, some cash grab thing, we pile up numbers them,
right.
If I can be unfiltered,
that's true.
Just
that's true. Without any type of Bible work, I was even at camp, Alea Institute camp, and it was the same thing, because they're saying that a lot of people are being baptized, and some of them are not staying, and they're saying the same thing, that it's just to build up the numbers, and they're not getting any type of Bible study from the Bible workers. But why is that?
To add to that, I think even because I say why is that, especially about the Bible study part, because that's a key aspect of actually deciding if you want to be baptized as a new member. Anyways, most of these baptisms, what I've observed, I can be wrong, can correct me. What I've observed is that they're done, these big sums of baptism, they're done in the crusade times.
Right.
Right. When you have these big tents, all over the place, and you have a lot of people and stuff like that. And it's good, because in the word, it did say, we should go and make disciples of it, and grab, to save each and every soul. And that's perfectly fine. But at what cost? Is just to grab their souls and just for a time and then to let it go. Each of these things, they have to have something in place to keep them.
Right.
And, for these crusade things, not bashing crusades, and I love them, I got baptized at a crusade.
Right.
So, but sometimes they play on the emotions of the individuals there. Some of them, just because they're feeling the movement of the Spirit at that time, and that's okay. You move towards where the Spirit leads you, and without proper Bible study for some of those things, and information, and actually giving them what they're being handed, because baptism, being a member of the church, being a follower of Christ, it's not an easy walk in the park. Some people just say, all right, I'm baptized, no one those vibes, and that's not the thing at all. And when they actually get now into the church where they're placed, sometimes the party, the body, the board, whatsoever it is, the governing agent of the entity, right, didn't really have a lot of things set out in place for them. And therefore, it's just losing, because the church shouldn't be a place where you have so much low retention. That attrition rate is too high. Not even government or attrition rate is high. And that's kind of crazy stuff, right? The church is where people should be running to.
Right.
And even some statistics I even have right here from an article, even from the AdventistWorld.org, right? Article from, I think it's June 14, 2024, right? They even speak about the high attrition rate between the year 1965 and 2023. The S.D.A. Church welcomed approximately 45 million new members.
Wow.
45 million new members. That is crazy, people. And however, in that same period, 19.4 million members chose to leave, indicating that more than 40% of new members actually departed from the church within that time frame. And that's just ridiculous. And even going deeper down, because, we before we spout the things I'm unfiltered, we need to have some facts to back it, I have a little more right here from even the the site, atoday.org, another Adventist website, right? And another recent article posted in 2024, where member losses in 2023, the church reported about 1.8 million new members, and yet 1.2 new members were removed from the records. And this could be due to several other things, like death, apostasy, or loss of contact. But it's showing you that the church is actually losing people. And even though we have those other different criteria about like death and apostasy, there's still new members. And it blows my mind. It truly blows my mind, Kayla. And it brings us back to the topic, because I even want to ask you, you can ask me back to, about how was it like for you when you were a new member, right, at Brinton SDA?
So, first of all, I wasn't always a Seventh-day Adventist. I was brought up in the Sunday church, but then one day I was introduced from, a lot of things. Everyone knows that, a lot of people have family issues. So that was one of them for me. And I was introduced to the elders here at Brinton. They came to my house, they prayed, they talked. And by them inviting me to church, I actually liked what the Seventh-day Adventist Church was about and the different things, because I was a part of the Pathfinder Club. I got into the Pathfinder Club and I loved it. I loved participating in different things, so like the singing and the acting. So I was very active, at 14, because I got baptized in 2015. So I was 14 at that time.
It's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, man, long time.
Gravel.
Long time. Growing up now that in the Seventh-day Adventist, before when I was a new believer, I don't know if it was because I was still young, I didn't really see anything, because I know I always wanted to become a Christian. I always wanted to baptize, but then I don't know what happened. But when I became a Seventh-day Adventist, I came to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The pull was there. The pull was there for me, and I didn't have any issues. I just know that I wanted to serve the Lord and to do His work, So that was it for me.
Okay, I forgot to ask you another question about that pull. What kind of pull that? Was it the singing? Was it the people? Was it a nice church umbrella on the corner? What kind of pull was that? What retained you? Please, was it the Bible study? There are a lot of things.
So there was no church umbrella, guys.
No church umbrella. We're talking off the ear.
No church umbrella. So I did get Bible study, and from that I was able to learn a lot, and being introduced to different aspects of the church, it was very enticing for me. I just wanted to be a part of the whole movement and what it had to offer, because the Seventh-day Adventist Church we really do have a lot of things. So like ASI, the Pathfinder Club, so many other things.
They say, so you like the vibes?
Yeah, man, I like the energy. It was very good for me.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Yes, man.
Well, for me, girl, a new member. How I even became a new member in the first place. I came to this church when I was a young wee lad. I was very short. The entire time, my interest in things, was just, probably cartoons and eating and sleeping. Right? Nothing much about the church vibes. I was forced by my grandmother. Big up all the nice, good, clean grandmothers out there, bringing these young ones to church.
Yes.
And kicking them out of the house and say, I don't know where you're going to go, but you can't stay here. You must go to church.
Right.
And that's all facts, no cap. Right? So that my grandmother did that, and it was remarkable. I loved it. I came here, I discovered new friends. I saw singing, and that's where I picked up the love for singing, dude. And please, people, don't believe that look Maddie says to do early in the podcast. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. I was forced to buy a podcast, and I should be getting a strong written letter after this is finished. But yeah, so I met some friends, some acapella days. Back in the days when acapella day hot.
Yeah.
No, everybody I do instrumental when I back, and that hot too, but acapella day hotter. You could hear every sound, every brass and timbling and singles, we what I call it. So I had some really cool friends, and they were really the drive for me as a new member. Not really much Bible study, because I just came here. I was forced it out of my yard. I was missing my Saturday cartoons, and that's why I usually stop one point in time. Come say, boy, this churching and I miss this too strong, man. I miss my Yu-Gi-Oh and my Pokemon fan.
Oh my gosh.
Saturday morning, and that now cut it. Not cutting it. But something happened again where I was in high school, and then I just decided to be a part of this Brinton community once more. I wasn't baptized though, it wasn't a new member, I was just here visiting. And then a crusade, as I say, I'm a crusade, baptismal youth, but it's fine. And then the particular message just struck my heart, and I said, whoa, Me I got hell.
Oh my.
I got hell.
Not the hell.
I this not nice. This not nice at all. So I'm saying, all right then. And funny thing is, I think I was playing football on that Sunday. It was a crusade. I was going to crusade. I was saying, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm going to give my life to Christ. That same crusade that night. And there I was. I remember I didn't have all of those things. But what retained me was literally, I didn't get the Bible studies. I had to do that on my own time. But what actually retained me was just the community, the people who was out there supporting me, loving me, you know, laughing with me, singing with me, vibing with me, eating food with me, fellowshipping. And that community and that love, that's what kept me within the church. So that's how it was. There was no red carpet for me, you know. It was some sprinkling of holy water and say, "Oh, repent." But everybody has their different stories, and that's perfectly fine. But I truly believe, you know, and there's two sides of the coin to this. And I'll be the mischief maker soon. But there's two sides of the coin to this where the church should do more. Right, it's the mission of the church to go out and to save and to, you know, to.
Yeah, but I think that the church, you know, as you said, there's always two sides to a story. But I think that sometimes the church we really do a lot, but at the same time, it's like we can't please some of the members.
Wait, what a lot? What do you mean?
You know, all right. So, for example, when I came to Brinton, I didn't have it all, but at the same time, I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted to be where God was, where Jesus was.
Okay.
So, as I said, I was introduced to a lot of stuff that I gravitated to, and I really loved it. So it held me, but some of these people, no matter what you give them, no matter how many Bible studies you give them, no matter how many talking you give them, it's like their heart is not in it. And if their heart is not in it, then they're not going to stick around.
So why take out people and baptize and then if you know they heart in it?
Why them baptize? No, but you have to know what you want. No one should force you to do anything at all. I know that a lot of persons get forced into baptism.
There was even an article I read. This lady from Mexico, Brazil. Yeah, I even remember. But this lady from Brazil, she got paid. You know
what?
Paid
to do what?
To be baptized, to be a new member, over and over again. Right about now, I didn't prepare me. Come on, I love that. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But yeah, there's some nefarious acts happening. And that's why I ask you.
In the Seventh-day Adventist church? Or just a church?
No, in a Pentecostal. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist talking about, moms.
Producer, get your host.
I'm Seventh-day Adventist talking about, mom. I'm telling you, when I read it, I was like, wow. I have a message to producer and saying, I could read it still.
Oh my gosh.
Text to read it. I could read. But boy, when I read it, I was shocked at Ted. And that's a reality.
That's a different type of shock because what?
Yeah.
Pay them?
And people are just building up the numbers. I'm telling you, why are people are just grabbing people to build up numbers?
That's not right.
I remember, I think they do have some reportings, you know, where churches will come and say, yes, you know, the crusade was successful and we baptized, you know, these hundreds and teens of people and stuff like that. And numbers, that's a glorified powerful number. They need to know, come and say, okay, I've baptized this number. How much have you retained throughout the period?
Yeah, but my question is, so we've been talking about our experiences and the amount, just like what I read here, the hundreds of thousands of members that were lost. But we didn't really talk about the specific, but what could be the reasons they left. And, you know, we were getting into it a while ago. And then the money part about Brazil, which was a shock because I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, man.
So,
read it, make it, man, you know, you'll be surprised about what's happening in this world.
So, Alfonso.
Talk to me.
Why? What do you think are some of the things that cause, you know, these members to go? And it's.
I can give you a list, you know.
Give me the list. Take the list.
Well, I had this discussion with a church mate as well, and I love having these discussions because the same question came about in the COVID time, right? Even though they're not new members, it's just retention of members on a whole, and some of these new members fall into the same gap of why some of the old members would leave. You have several things. For instance, and the biggest thing I've heard is hurt, right? You know, they just got in. You know, they didn't expect the church to be this way. They believe that the church, you know, should be different from the world. It's hunky dory, it's full of roses and stuff like that. It should be. But you know, in the scriptures, you know, Christ said it himself. You know, he didn't come to save those who are already saved.
Yeah.
Right. You know, he came for those who are lost. Those lost people usually are those, those backbiters, those the gossipers, those liars, those stealers, those people with cold hearts. Do you think them out in the world too? But sadly,
it's in the church as well.
It's in the church as well, and some of those new members, coming to that shop because their reality, when they see
expecting a
perfect life, and all of that they see on TV, they come and they see what a man named Jen Jenkins or I don't even know. So they see him on the TV and they say, the church is our vibes. They're thinking about the worship and the energy and stuff like that, and that should be it, but they're not thinking about the whole thing that encompasses being a member of a church, a member of a body. It's not always worship, which it should always be, but not always worshiping. You need to go to another realm of fellowshipping. And when you start to fellowship with these members, now you get to know what they are, and some of these people see that and say, this is crazy, right? Why make sense? So, and then afterwards, there's another thing, boy, we can talk about this for hours. There's another thing where they become new members and they feel lost, especially as those super mega churches. You're just a drop in the puddle of life, and after them grab you in, there's nobody to say, hey, how
that
you do?
So true.
Let me share some food with you. Let me have a talk with you. Come to social, come play some domino, come to this, come to that. Nobody has church done, then just walk. Some people even get happy Sabbath. As they see your church, then you shit their tear and go over to somebody who them already know and shit them and say, so Sister Pat, how you do? Yeah, all right. And brother Maxwell, not saying we know brother Maxwell, but yeah, that individual is over there and just walk past him and it hurts, and they're saying that if we're in a church and we don't feel so, we just get it. In a sense, but there's a lot of things we can speak about, but we're going to just wrap it up for a little bit right here, have a little intermission break so we can get to part 2 of this amazing segment.